Hey everyone. I got this old slide here, and it's from 1952, and this is Carcassonne Castle in France. And as you can see, the last 61 years haven't really been kind to it, and it's turned very, very red. Now, when this slide was taken, clearly it was not all red. And I didn't take the slide. I was 25 years away from being born when this was taken. Um, but I'm making the assumption it wasn't all red anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to save this slide. This is a really, really extreme example. So what I'm going to show you is a really, really extreme version of what you would typically have to do to save a slide. But that's because this is really, really red. So this slide was digitized using the same technique that I show in my video about digitizing slides using a DSLR. So if you're curious about that, you should check that video out. I'll put a link in the description. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this. Now, you can see that because this was taken with a DSLR, and because it was a slide, slides leave these little corners up here because they had rounded corners in them. It's very annoying to digitize things and have these up here. It actually doesn't really bother me that much, but actually this one does bother me because there's only 3 corners. That's really annoying. Anyway, none of that matters. The first thing I'm going to do is you can see up here in the histogram, the first change I'm going to make is going to affect the way this looks. So I'm going to hit Control, Shift, and L, which is going to auto-tone it. And basically it just took the histogram curves and spread them out to cover the entire tonal range. And you could see what happened was this image looked a lot less muddy instantly. Well, that in effect pulled out a bunch of the tones and the contrasts that we're going to need and expanded the tonal range of each color, which is going to help us in the next step. I'm going to go into Image, Adjustments, and then Color Balance. You can also hit Control B to go here if you'd like. Now with color balance, I start in the midtones, partly because it's the default and partly because in a well-exposed photograph, most of what you're going to see in the image are midtones. So the first thing I'm going to do now, bear in mind this is an extreme case because this is very red. In most cases, you need to drop your cyan down here into like the -17 to -30 range. I'm dropping it to -100. And you can see already that that's taken a lot of the red out of here. The green I'm going to bring up here to about +50. Again, very extreme. The green would not normally have to be this far along the slider. But this is, like I said, a very extreme case. The blue and yellow, when something turns red, you don't have to do that much with. I'm going to give it about +7. I kind of like the way that looks. Now this is really pretty good. We could finish here and call it a day, but I'm a bit of a perfectionist with the coloration. So I'm going to come back in here into the highlights, and you can see when I go extreme with the highlights what's happening. I'm going to drop this pretty far too, to about -66. That looks pretty good to my eyes and on this monitor. The green I'm not going to do too much with. I'm actually going to make it a little bit negative, bring out some of the red tones in the bricks. You can see up here there's some red tone, maybe rust, I'm not sure, in the roof. But if this were to lose all of its redness, that wouldn't look natural. So we're going to keep a little bit of that in with the magenta here. And then again, you can see blue and yellow doesn't really do anything for us. I'm just going to leave that at 0. Shadows I do last, and this is really just to bring out some of the detail and the tone in the shadows. You can see that there's, at least to my eyes, there's a little bit of residual redness in some of these. Not that much, but a little bit. But what you can see here is that going crazy with this slider causes you some really big problems because there's a lot of shadow. What the computer sees as shadow tones throughout. So I'm actually only going to bring this down to -20. Bring the green up to plus 5 or 6. That looks pretty good. And this one will probably end up not getting done. Going too far, if anywhere. It's not going anywhere. And that's it. This is probably pretty darn close to what this image looked like when it was taken. You can check and uncheck Preserve Luminosity to see which one you prefer. On my monitor, it looks better with. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to hit Control F. Control F runs the same filter you just did. For me, it's the unsharp mask. I ran the unsharp mask at 15% and 20 pixels, or vice versa. Very mild unsharp mask just to make some of the brickwork pop here. And then I'm going to save it. So anyway, that's the process for recovering an old photo that's been reddened with age. If this video was helpful, please leave me a thumbs up. That lets me know that I'm on the right track and doing the right thing. And also, please leave me any comments or questions. I'm pretty good about responding to those fairly quickly. If you have any suggestions for videos, let me know. And if I have the technical know-how and the equipment to do it, I'd be more than happy to. And the last thing I want to say is, thank you guys for watching.